Please don't let me go. Please don't let me go.
Hello and welcome to haQ attaQ. My name is Jakob, I'm your host, and you're watching a haQ attaQ episode. Here we have KORG Gadget, and this is the fifth part of the post dubstep production series in where I am breaking down a garage track I've made using only KORG Gadget, obviously. And in this fifth and final part, we're going to have a look at these two Bilbao gadgets right here, because they contain all the vocal material inside my track. And we're gonna start with my vocals. And of course, I'm talking about these ones.
Please don't let me go.
Okay, so originally I recorded these vocals directly into Gadget using the new Zirish gadget. It's an audio gadget, and yes, you can record audio directly into it. So I was just sitting and jamming along. I had already built the drums, the bass, the bass, the pads, you know, all of those things. And so I was just singing along, and I hate to admit it, but I was using the Apple EarPods with the awesome microphone on it. Yeah, and so this is the thing, when the inspiration hits, you know, you can't help it. I just started recording directly into Zirish. Now the problem with Zirish is that it's quite limited on editing tools. I wanted some way of actually moving the sample around inside my sequence here. So I wanted the sample to begin somewhere else. So I had to export the audio and then import it back into Bilbao right here. And this way I can actually trigger my samples whenever I want them to be triggered inside my track. It's kind of nice having that control over your samples, right? And you're probably thinking, the microphone on the Apple EarPods aren't that great for recording vocals with, and you would be correct. The vocals usually come out very, very sharp, and it just doesn't sound good. But fact is, I haven't really done much with these vocals. So we're gonna have a look inside the insert effect slot right here. And as you can see, I've got a compressor, a delay, a reverb, and an equalizer on here. And the biggest problem I actually had was the sound being too sharp. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the delay and reverb, but I'm not going to turn off the compressor. The compressor isn't doing that much. I'm just keeping the dynamics of my voice in check so it doesn't pop off loudly, and then I'm just gaining it basically. So I've given it a boost 7.8 decibels. So let's back out of this. I've turned off the delay and reverb, and so it sounds like this.
Please don't let me go.
Now, listen closely. When I turn off the equalizer, you're gonna hear the voice become really sharp.
Please don't let me go.
I have this S sound that is just, you know, it shoots through everything. That's why I always process my narration with clever de-esser called espresso. So let's A-B this again.
Please don't let me go. Please don't let me go. Please don't let me go. Please don't let me go.
So let's head into the equalizer and have a look at it. So as you can see, I haven't done anything with the mid or the lows. But up here you can see that I'm filtering off the high bits of my frequency spectrum. I've turned the frequency knob to 4625 Hertz, and I've pulled it down 4 decibels. And that did a lot for my voice.
Please don't let me go. Please don't let me go.
Now it does lose a bit of the edge, but since this is a garage type track and the type of bells I've got in here, it really fits well together. So let's jump out of the equalizer and head into the delay. And it's not like I have a way I always delay my stuff. Every time I make a new song or a new track, I use different delay times depending on what type of track it is. I don't have a process for this. And lastly, we have the reverb, but I do have a process for my reverbs that I always use, and that is big wait. Well, especially for tracks like this. And so that's basically all I've done with the Jakob vocals. Let's head out of here and I'll show you the last gadget. It's also a Bilbao gadget, and this contains vocal snippets that comes with Gadget when you download it. So these are factory stuff, and I've used these vocals before simply because I love them so much. So all I've done is to make sure that I leave a space empty for when my Jakob vocal hits. And so let's have a look at the insert effect slot. Here you can find the obligatory compressor that I always put into my projects. Again, I'm just using this to keep volumes in check. I have gained it a little bit, but the way I go about it is I usually compress everything, so everything is usually at the same level or same strength in level. And then I simply use the mixer to turn down the levels that are too loud, instead of trying to raise levels when I mix stuff. And so let's jump out of the compressor, and we can see that I've also got a delay and I've also got a reverb. And again, as you can see, the size is huge and the time is pretty big. So big and wet. And there you go. That concludes the Post Dubstep production series. I'm gonna start a new series, so for those of you who likes this type of content, I'm gonna make more of it, so don't worry. Thank you so much for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. I've also got a Patreon. I've also got a Patreon account, so if you find value in the content I produce here on YouTube, if this is something you want to keep seeing, then why not join up on Patreon? If that isn't your cup of tea, I got a PayPal me link down in the description, so if you want to do a one-off donation, then you can use that. Talking about patrons, by the way, I got to meet one of my patrons yesterday. His name is Andreas, and he traveled all the way from the US, well, not to meet with me, but the guy is from Sweden originally, just like me, and it was so nice to meet up with him. It's not that often I do get to meet my patrons. Now, this guy is quite creative himself. He does some awesome stuff, and you should really check out his site by Andreas, where you can find his custom things that he makes. He also has a shop through Etsy where he sells some stuff, and one of the things I love the most about Andreas' art are these doodle kind of things that he calls it. I just love the way they look. I'll put a link to his site in the description. Okay, so back to it. If PayPal and Patreon isn't your cup of tea, then you can always share my videos. Press the thumbs up if you think that my videos deserve it. And and if you want KORG Gadget, you'll find an app link for that one down in the description too. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.